Okay, here we are in Community Matters, and we're talking about ProtoHub today with Shanah Trevanah, who is the CEO, but actually the DEO, Director in Charge, something DIO,
Sure.
the boss lady, okay, and then George Yarbrough, who is the COO, otherwise known as the DOO. He does operations.
Yeah, that's right.
And he helps Shanah in what she needs, okay? All right, so, the background is, if you didn't know, there's this thing called ProtoHub. It's up a staircase, but it actually has an elevator.
Yep.
And it's in the Aldiki building there on Kiawe Street. And it's the second, significant, maybe there are others there too, co-working space in Kaka'ako. And when you get two, now you have a community, right? With one, it's not clear yet, but with two, you're going somewhere. It's painting the road for you. Okay, and so this is very exciting, and I receive mail from these guys every day, maybe.
That's not true.
Once a week.
Once a week?
Monday to light up your
Okay,
week.
well, it seems like every day. I receive mail enough to remember it, okay? Very nice mail. Mad Mimi, is it?
Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
that's what we use.
You may receive it as much as we receive ThinkTech Hawaii.
But we like to keep you inundated, with all of our shows, I think, including your show.
Yeah.
And the truth is that Shanah Trevanah was on our show sometime last year, and we talked about a lot of things, and you were doing skyrocket things, but at the time, ProtoHub was only a dream in your eye. You talked about it, but it was.
In many people's eyes. In many people's eyes.
A glimmer.
All right, so here we are now. This is like follow-up.
Sure.
This is, the continuation of that discussion. So, okay, ProtoHub. ProtoHub, sounds like something out of Star Wars. What is ProtoHub? Why did you come up with that name? What does that mean?
I'm a sci-fi buff, and I've never come across ProtoHub in all of my readings. But we still can't take credit for it. It came from Seattle, actually. So first I'll say the Impact Hub is what we're going to be, and this is our temporary preliminary step called ProtoHub. We're prototyping our hub.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I like it. I
Yeah,
like that
and there's
idea.
60
So it's dynamic. It's going to change. It's going to change.
It's growing, yeah. And
Yeah.
there's 60 Impact Hubs in the world and about 20 more being created in major cities. So there's Impact Hub Johannesburg and Impact Hub Melbourne and, Sydney, et cetera. So we are going to be Impact Hub Honolulu, and when Impact Hub Seattle was being created, they decided for about a year to have a smaller temporary location to prototype all of their programming, all of their spaces, see what the community demand was, and so we're following in their footsteps. They're one of our sister hubs.
Very direct of you. It's very candid of you. You're telling everybody that you're testing this.
Yes.
And you're going to find a model. You're going to carve the statue out of the marble.
Yes.
So, but let me ask you a question, and you should appreciate this. Qu'est-ce que c'est Impact Hub? Qu'est-ce que c'est is French.
I'm French.
I know that.
Yeah.
Montreal, rather Toronto French.
Yes,
Toronto
yes.
French. It's different from Montreal French.
And I think
The
you don't think
Toronto
about
French
me.
is not quite as French as the Montreal French.
Are we going to get into that?
No.
'Cause
Get in trouble. Okay, so
maybe we should have George answer.
Wow, I don't want to get into the French.
he knows.
Yeah.
So what about a ProtoHub? Qu'est-ce que c'est ProtoHub?
I mean, it's
I'm sorry, qu'est-ce que c'est
ProtoHub.
Impact Hub.
Impact Hub. Well, first of all, it's a global network, right? So as she mentioned, there's over 60, so we're going to be joining them. I mean, we're already talking to them on a weekly basis, and how do we kind of grow bigger into a foundation for the startup community here in Honolulu. So essentially that's what we are, a foundation, but also like a support group for the startups, for the entrepreneurs, and it's also for the social enterprises here in Hawaii. So if you come to our ProtoHub, which I certainly hope you do.
I will, I'll bring a camera.
I'll give you the tour, and you can, and I'll introduce you to the people who are doing really cool things and starting really innovative ideas. And so we're a community center for innovators and movers and shakers here in Hawaii.
Yeah, and there's three main pillars to it. There's spaces, community, and programs. So we have a bunch of different interesting nooks and open areas that you can sit depending whether you want to be in your natural light or on your own or whatever you need that day, that moment.
Back to the French for a minute. I went to the Loire Valley, okay, and I made a study of all the French castles there, pre-revolution castles, 300-400 years of castles. And the funny thing I noticed on all the tops of the castles, I mean, every period had its own architecture, but they all had common denominator on the top of the castles. Do you know about this? Okay, it was asymmetrical. In other words, you couldn't, a lot of things in these castles was symmetrical, but not the top, not the roof. The roof had all these places, these hidden little places, places of assignation, okay? And this is where French diplomacy was born. So you could hide in these little niches there on the roof of all these castles. And that meant that you could make plots and schemes and conspiracies. You could plan, you could dream, you could meet people secretly. God knows what you could do.
Those were like the corners of covert political planning.
Exactly, that's what it was. The French, you invented it, okay? And that's the thing about all these castles in the Loire Valley and elsewhere around France. They had these rooftops with asymmetrical places of assignation. Okay, you heard it here on ThinkTech, okay?
So what you're saying is
what I'm saying is I think there's a parallel of what you're talking about.
I knew there was going to be one. I was waiting for
Of course.
it. Yeah. So enlighten us. Draw the parallel for us. We think we might see it, but
Well, places where I can meet, where I can have assignation, if you wish. I mean, intellectual assignation, anyway. Where I can plot and scheme and make plans and entrepreneurial innovations and designs and rule the world, hopefully. And so maybe that's what you've got. You've got these. What do you call it? Place. You call it place, right?
Yeah, it's a space and a place.
it might be too open concept to really lend itself to the covertness.
You and Dawn Lippert.
Right.
She went and did this whole thing where everything is open. You can't even have an assignation there.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. There's still hidden corners around the state, just not so much in the hub. It's pretty open.
Okay, all right. So we got places, we got community. That was the second one. What's community?
Communities, it starts with our members wall, really, when people sign up.
Yeah, and also programming. So, and under programming, we put in networking, right? So we have things like Sexy Salad Wednesday, where it's a community event where you can come in and network and also enjoy like a locally made salad. We have our Pauhanas on the third Thursday of every month. So if you really want to come in and kind of just shake it with some of your local community members and also, enjoy a beer or a cocktail, you can do that. But yeah, so then that's part of the community.
What was the third one?
That was the programming. So
Programming. Okay,
yeah, but programming entails a lot more than just our community events. So programming is like what Wednesdays.
WordPress Workshop Wednesdays. So
WordPress Workshop.
So hard skill development.
WW.
Notice how I passed that over to him because I was just
WWW.
whoa. Yeah.
Oh, that's really helpful.
And this is a good segue for you. So we built it out of the ProtoHub, and it's a little like a package deal for people who want to start their own WordPress website.
Yeah.
And now it's actually we're hosting it at Box Jelly for this month. So there's that collaboration and building that community between us and Box Jelly.
This is important.
So
for many reasons.
Take it away.
For many reasons, run with it.
Yeah. Okay, well, this is really interesting. I mean, there's so many innovations in what you just described. This is not, it's like you have to think years. You probably did think years about exactly how you're going to organize this and make it useful.
It was about 3 years in the planning before we dove in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed. So you got this space, which was a coup all in itself, from Kamehameha Schools, which wants Kaka'ako to be like this. And they were willing to make a deal with you and help you build it out, I guess. And now you have this place, and you want to make it ready for and attractive to people who are in all three of those categories, or it doesn't matter. I mean, are your constituents doing all three of those things?
Yes.
Or just some of them?
All three of those things, really. I mean, some people come in just to co-work, but I would say that there's rarely a member that doesn't involve themselves in some sort of activity or program that's happening at the hub. And we have just such a diversity of it, from learning how to build a business plan and finance for startups to yoga.
Yoga, okay. Well, you're creating a home away from home.
Absolutely.
This is where I go to rest my weary bones and enjoy people and find my friends, my community, my life. Okay.
Collaborators and mentors
and my business
employees and clients.
So I guess if you hang around long enough, you get rich. Is that what happens?
Well, you build your business.
Yeah.
It's a place to build your business.
Okay, I want that.
I like the get rich part. That's
well, that's part of the game.
Eventually.
It's the programming part.
Eventually.
When you say programming, you mean entrepreneurial programming or just programming?
It's mostly entrepreneurial, but it's full spectrum. Yeah,
Okay.
we offer a whole bunch of anything that would interest the live-work balance of someone in the startup community. So we're kind of trying to get a culture of anti-burnout Yeah.
Tell them about the Wellness Center.
Yeah, so we actually have a wellness program and a wellness center. We have a room devoted to massage and acupuncture and meditation that practitioners then rent from us to provide services to the Hub community
Why
at
don't
a
I
discount.
just move in?
That's
There's something for me all day long, and
Well, we just started 24-hour, 7 days a week memberships, so you kind of could, and it's cheaper than rent, I'm sure. So.
I know, just a thought, but when The Descendants came out, remember that? I said to myself, gee, wow, we have a million stories here in Hawaii, and we don't tell them. We need George Clooney to tell them for us. Terrible. We should tell our own stories, and in a funny way we are. If you check next door to Kumakahua Theater, which you guys could consider doing theater in there too, couldn't you?
There's been improv and acting classes and things.
I like that. Yep. Anyway, next door they have this Hawaiian culture, islands culture kind of thing, theater, and they play some very interesting plays. And they got one going on now called My Name is Gary Cooper, which was written by a New Zealand Samoan who writes about a love affair a la Madame Butterfly between a haole guy and a Samoan woman. It's really interesting, and it's playing right now. And what it strikes me, that's one of those stories. And it's not specifically about Hawaii, but it's a Hawaii kind of cultural story. And you guys are you are a story. I mean, ProtoHub, the soon-to-be Impact Hub, is a story. So we need to make a movie about you. That's what we need to do.
That.
Yeah. George Clooney can star as George. I mean, that makes good sense. Yeah.
George Clooney, you don't need to find some local guy.
Then we'll stick with George.
Yeah, I'll just do it.
You just want to be sure.
Just our George.
Hedge your bets. Okay, so could be. When I saw something in you're 24/7. No.
Yeah, we are.
How do you do that? That takes a lot of staffing.
Well,
George.
I'm there all the time.
Yeah, we have a number of hosts that exchange their work and management for membership. So that's one way that we have.
Oh, cool.
We have the ability to anyone
That's a
should
smart
become
idea.
a member as well. And after someone's been a member for a while and they know the community and they know how the space works, they are given a proper training and they have to be interviewed. They have to go through a process in order to get that. But yeah, they can definitely start to be able to work when they want to.
Yeah, you want to make sure.
All
that
impact
they
hubs around the world are
represent
like
you.
this.
Yeah.
We're following a model that's global.
But it's also about building so when you build a community, there's a level of trust that's involved. And so that's what we try to do with our memberships and our members in our community, essentially. So when they approach us about 24/7 membership, there's a level of trust, and we explicitly say that. We say, this space and place is as much yours as it is ours. So please treat it that way. And then we go through kind of the tour of what needs to happen if you're going to be having access to this place whenever you want. And of course we have video cameras and security camera that come on our phones. But there's a level of trust that needs to happen when you grant that responsibility and you grant them that token.
And
So-
I was just going to say that our members, we talk with them every day. We work all day, every day out of the hub. So we just sit and chat with them. It's like, how was your event? How is this? How's the coffee? How's your day? How's that room? And then as we get feedback, we find out what the community wants, which is the prototyping part. And we change things up constantly to make it just ever improved.
That's what Box Jelly did, from the beginning. They were always changing. They called it pivoting. They were,
like
go
that.
get advice, pivot, go get advice, pivot, until they kind of invented their model over there.
Ray Chung is so good with words like that.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It's all Rich Chung, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but we're huge fans of Ray Chung.
Yeah. Is Tony still there? Tony Stanford?
I don't know.
I'm not sure he is.
Tall guy?
He was,
Yeah.
big guy.
Yeah, I believe so. I met Tony the other day from Box Jelly.
Yeah. So, why are you guys doing this? Why? Pourquoi?
I mean, I think everyone involved with the hub would say a different answer. I actually am a mechanical engineer and had a sustainability consulting firm that flexed anywhere from 2 to 10 staff, so I actually needed an infrastructure support for my team. And someone pointed out the Impact Hub, and I was going to San Francisco, so I checked it out. And also being president of Sustainability Association of Hawaii, which is a green business coalition, for 3 years, when I got there, I just thought, our business community needs this. Like, I need this, but we all need this. And to link Hawaii's local economy with a global network like this is really powerful. and also to provide the type of support and center and community to all the people that I knew and didn't know was really exciting. So those are my personal reasons why I got into this.
It's not to get rich.
Oh, rich will happen eventually, they say. I don't know.
But you know, I have a friend who always tells me, it will find a way. So whatever you need, we'll find a way. Just keep on trucking, that's all. How about you, George? It's for love.
Well, yeah. So, do you remember the 360 Cafe, the Capital One 360 Cafe that was on Kapahulu? It was this beautiful bank space that was owned by Capital One, and it's a really beautiful space. And their business model wasn't working, but people would go there to work because it had coffee and it had internet access. In addition to that, it would just happen that you would make contacts there. So it was like this accidental co-working space that people use. Inevitably, they went down because it just wasn't working for them. I guess the rent was way too high. So
Economic issue.
yeah, economic issue. So that disappeared, and then I needed a place to work for my businesses, and then I met Shanah, and I've always had this desire and pull to build a community, which is something I've lacked through my history, because I've always moved around quite a bit. So just having like
Are you French Canadian also?
No, but I do live in Canada.
Ah, there must be something in that.
Right?
I always like Canadian
He's lived
people.
many places, many
Yeah.
places, yeah.
And so like those two factors just kind of happened at the same time, and then I met Shanah, and so like that trifecta just
She does have a
happened.
profound effect on
She
people.
does, like this gravity.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And then, funny enough, like a lot of the people that were at Capital One 360 migrated over to the hub. So there's a lot of parallels between Capital One 360 and the hub that have good coffee,
It's very important.
which we provide to our members. Great light, so natural light coming in, and also open space, and the ability to like connect and network at ease, which is something that
Yes,
that
right.
we-
You have to set up a special kind of, what did you call it? Ecosystem.
An ecosystem,
An ecosystem.
yeah.
And that's why we're calling the show An Ecosystem Grows in Kaka'ako. It's something like a tree grows in Brooklyn. I think Kaka'ako is like the modern Brooklyn in New York. It's the same thing. If you've been to Brooklyn, you know that. It's resurrecting itself as never before. And an ecosystem is the modern version of a tree, I guess. There you go. Anyway, because I said that, that's the title of our show. And we're talking about ProtoHub. We're talking about Shanah Trevanah and George Yarbrough, and we're here on Community Matters. And I feel that we're having a break. It's coming. It's happening.
It's here.
It's here.
Aloha, my name is Howard Wigg. I am the host of Code Green on ThinkTech Hawaii. Why do I agree to this? Because I get to talk about energy efficiency, which for me is the cleanest, simplest, quickest, most cost-effective means of reducing our use of fossil fuel and hence cleaning up our planet to become a cool green planet. Once more, that is my passion. Each week I bring guests in who have specialties in the energy efficiency field, and we go in depth and they tell us why their field is so great. And that just gives me a whole lot of enjoyment. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Aloha.
Okay, we came back. Like MacArthur, we came back. ProtoHub with Shanah Trevanah and George Yarbrough, making magic in Kaka'ako. A new ecosystem grows in Kaka'ako. So I want to sort of, this is the part of the show where we drill down and find out what's really going on. So the question is, what happens to me when I walk in the door, which I will do soon. I've been meaning to do that a long time with a camera, by the way. I walk in the door, and I want to be part of it. I want this. I want to enrich my life, my connection with the community. I want to find out what's going on. Finally, I want to touch people. So what happens to me when I walk in the door?
I think the first thing that you do is you're greeted by a host, which then differentiates your experience from any coffee shop you've been to or anything, We always have a host there from Monday, Friday, 9 to 5 to welcome anyone and find out what their interest is in showing up. And then they always get a tour. And it starts with the members wall, where they can see our 130 members' Polaroids with what they're working on and their website and a message about what they're into. So they can just get an instant sense of the community. We always chat with them about what their passion is, why they're there, what they're working on. We usually introduce them to one or two people that might be interesting to them then, and that goes ongoing. And then we find out what they really came in for, and after they've seen what it is, where do they see themselves fitting in, and then we find a membership plan for them, and we sign them up on the spot, or they can decide to do so later. It's always a free first day, so you could just cruise the whole day, try it whatever you'd like, decide if you want to stick it out for a long time or a short time, and it's always just every month, so they can change their plan later on, etc. They can put their lunch in our fridge and sit down and have some lunch with some people. They can check out the calendar to see what's happening that night or that week and see what they want to attend. They also say, you know, I'd like to teach a workshop. I'd like to do that. And we talk to them about that because that's open to anyone that would like to, is to use the space to teach and to share.
If I came in at 8 o'clock in the morning and said, I want to spend the whole day here.
Yep.
Till I can't
Yeah.
be here. I
We'd give you a free 100% Kona coffee or a free
All day
local
long,
organic
I'd be
coffee and
nervous,
say,
yeah.
stay as long as you'd like.
So what would I do? I'd sit
Yeah.
on the couch. Would you provide a computer for me? I had to bring my own. Would I be able to talk to people? And people are friendly, right? You create an ecosystem which is very friendly, right? And I'd make friends immediately, and I'd become welcome.
Sure.
And the host person would introduce me to everybody and all that. Is that
I
what-
don't know about everybody, but
Yeah.
they would probably say, oh, you're working on ThinkTech. Oh, we actually have someone else that's running that kind of thing. You should meet them sometime.
Okay, so
Yeah.
networking introductions,
Yeah,
if
that's
you will.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, and first of all, there's a designated space that is for people who are deep into their project. So we probably wouldn't introduce you to them because there's
would
a
be
sign that says
interrupting.
the hub focused quiet zone.
Really?
You know,
We
so
have to keep him out of that.
yeah, so I don't think I'd bring you to that space, obviously with your intent of talking to everyone.
Yeah.
So, but we do have couches. We even have like a little meeting nook where there's like soft carpet with a library that people can go and discuss whatever they want. Not necessarily behind a desk, but you know, like lie down and pillows and a carpet.
Can I sleep?
Yeah,
You
people,
can.
the people
It's not like
definitely
the city
sleep.
streets or anything.
No, you won't get arrested. You won't get cleared.
Yeah.
There's no sweeps.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah. We
provide
do
you-
have curtains, though. There's little curtains we
Yeah.
can close so someone can have a nap. Yeah.
That's cool.
So, and we don't provide you with a computer, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So we recommend that, but we do provide you with the newest edition of Fast Company or you know, some of the startups.
Pacific Business News or-
yeah,
yeah.
some of that. So-
Okay,
so you
and
can
wireless,
catch up.
lots of really fast wireless?
Really fast wireless. Yeah.
Yeah, how
Everyone's
fast
very
is
impressed
really
with
fast?
it.
About 65 down, 65 up.
Okay,
Yeah.
This is why I have George.
of course.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
Got
no,
it.
so definitely fast.
Yeah.
And then there's the Wi-Fi code for you there, and you can do your work. You can peruse the area. You can just I guess just cruise if you want. And then there's the kitchen that people are always talking amongst themselves and cooking and eating. And
How
so
do you make sure the kitchen is ready for the next person?
Oh, everyone shares it. It's like a cafe style. There's a few tables to sit down at, and everyone just.
it's the watering hole. There's
Yeah,
coffee.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
tea, organic tea, and there's hot water and cold water.
Yeah, and what you're really gonna like is we have free parking.
Yes, that huge big parking lot out in the back, that is so important.
Big
Yeah,
deal.
And-
yeah. When you're a member, we give you a parking pass for free
Oh,
to
wow,
use.
maybe it'd be worth it just to have the parking.
The
tell ya.
parking would probably be
Actually,
more expensive than
yeah.
the membership.
Yeah,
for sure.
I remember the Elks Club years ago in Waikiki. You know, people would join the Elks Club never to go there, just to park in
Just to park.
Waikiki. That was really important.
Yeah, yeah. Kakako is like impossible to find parking.
Yeah, it's gonna be worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so for this, and this is 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, I can come and rest my weary bones and talk to people and work and think and be stimulated essentially into doing constructive things.
It's important to know that you can only drop in Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, if you're not a member. Then we have a host and the door is wide open. But in the evenings and weekends, you have to be
You have to be a member,
member.
even though you still have a host.
Yeah, we have the host sometimes. Sometimes it's self-hosted.
Okay, okay, okay. So now, what do I pay to be a member of this elite group?
What would you want to do at the hub?
What would I want to do?
Tell me about what you want to do there.
Okay, okay. No, I got to think about it for a minute.
Yeah.
Because I have the studio here, which helps me a lot.
Sure.
I'd want to edit movies. I'd want to program. I'd want to do email, lots of email. I want to write stuff and research stuff, and I want to meet people and suck their brains.
How many times a month?
How many times a week?
A lot, actually. I mean, assuming that I was going to do this, I would do it probably 2-3 days a week.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
So if it's 1 or 2 days a week, we might say you want a part-time membership, which is only $30 a month, and you can come in 10 days a month. If you want to come more than a couple days a week, then it's a full-time membership, which is $95. And you can come in as many days as you want, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But
7 days.
here's the
Oh,
thing.
Monday to Friday, you
Yeah.
said. Okay.
But you're going to be programming, you're going to be working on videos, which takes a lot of time.
You might be in there
and
in
you're
2
going to
evenings.
want to be focused. And so if you're like me, who works really well at night, you're going to want to kind of have the flex part-time. So that allows you to come at any time during the day, including weekends. And so that's a different kind of membership.
What kind of membership is that?
That's called the flex part-time.
So you can come 10 days of the month for any 24-hour period.
And that's $45.
Yeah, just a little bit more.
That's in the middle.
Yeah.
Between the 30 and the 95.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it gives you that flexibility to really come whenever you want.
And we have just evenings and weekends if you like to be here during the day, but you want somewhere after hours to work. We have just that membership. That's $75.
Which is that, another 75?
Evenings and weekends.
Just evenings
Just
and
evenings
weekends.
and weekends.
Now, suppose I want to attend your events, you have all these events.
Come one, come all.
Entertainment, social, what have you,
Yeah.
educational, so I can come and do that.
You don't have to be a member at all to come. And you can actually, members can invite people in to have meetings that are not members. So
Really?
you can,
Yeah.
you can invite 10 of your friends to come in and you can rent one of our rooms, our meeting rooms for $5 an hour. And you can sit in there and host all your friends as long as you make sure that it's all cleaned up after they go.
And this is a private meeting room. I mean,
Yep,
you can
we have a
actually
few private meeting rooms that are $5 to $10 an hour
Gee,
each.
this is pretty appealing with the parking and all that. Wow.
It's a no-brainer.
No, it's a no-brainer. This is really valuable. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the gathering aspect, I think. But it sounds pretty attractive to me, actually.
The nice thing too is people actually get work done. I mean, that was one of the things that we heard people say is, I'm going to try it, but I don't think I'm really going to get much work done. And then people found that they were plowing through their work because it was just such a nice atmosphere. We always have light music on, and yeah, I mean, I personally found that myself, to be honest.
Before we go to the next break, I want to ask you about the work people do. We're talking about, I guess, reading and writing and making movies. For me, that's easy. But what about actually doing business? What kind of businesses do you attract? What kind of, the people who come down for that benefit, what kind of businesses are they involved in?
Incredibly diverse. I mean, every corner. We definitely have people coding. We have people working on marketing and graphic design. A lot of our graphic designers that have come in have gotten a lot of clients through the community, actually, because other people are working on farms and farm-to-table delivery, that sort of thing, but they haven't thought about a flyer or a way to promote themselves, and then that cross-pollination of our members is really creating a lot of activity and business exchange.
We have nonprofits.
Yep.
We have a lot of freelance work just because of the, they want a flexible schedule. They inherently have a flexible schedule, so they adore some of the flexible part-time memberships and stuff like that.
I forgot to ask you, does nonprofit entitle me to a special rate? Or
25% off.
Thank you.
Yeah, students and nonprofits in groups of 3 or more teams get 25% off.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Sure.
The other thing is, so I'm sitting there, I'm doing my article or my movie or my entrepreneurial activity, and I see you. I see you, George. You're sitting there a few seats away, or the next area, so to speak, in this quiet zone I'm talking about. And I say, George, you look like a guy who knows about graphics.
Sure.
Will you help me? What's going to happen?
I could say, "Hey, you're bothering me," or I could say, or I could, if I want to make some business, then I would show you my business card. I'd be like, "Absolutely, let's set up a time for us to meet. How about tomorrow, or maybe let's meet up in a few hours after I finish this project I'm doing right here." And that happens. It happens. A lot of times, the communication actually happens organically through the host, who's kind of that connector of the community. The hub of the wheel, so to speak. So they really know where to go, and that's also Shanah and I do that just because we organically have that knowledge of who's doing what where.
And the nice thing too is there's this one area that is the hub, we call it hub focus, and if you're sitting in there, you don't want to be interrupted, so people just
So you're making a
don't.
statement.
You're making a statement, and if you're sitting in other places, people know you're a little more open. And most often, what we'll say is we'll be like, that person there is doing exactly what you're curious about. You should talk with them, and that usually happens like around the water cooler. Literally, we have filtered water and tea and everything, so that's when people would be like, I just was told I should probably chat with you. A lot of that happens in the kitchen.
The water cooler.
It was literally,
I love it.
yeah.
You don't care about the water, you just want to be near the water cooler. That's all.
Yeah, everyone just stands around and nothing comes out, but.
Okay, I told you it'd be another break.
Sure.
We come back to the break, we talk larger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're going to talk about how this is all going to unfold going forward, how it's going to affect the generation and the state. Wow, I'm so excited. I wish we had more time to ask you that, but we will in a minute. This is ProtoHub with Shanah Trevanah and George Yarbrough. An ecosystem grows in Kaka'ako, used to be known as Brooklyn. We'll be right back.
Aloha, my name is Paul Jackson, better known as PJ, and my local interest is in sports. I have my own sports radio show at KWAI AM 1080 that you can stream live. I also have my own website, pjsportsradio.com. We have live guests in studio, and we talk about discussions and topics that everyone wants to know locally here on the islands. We cover everything from surfing to basketball to whatever's going on locally, sports-wise. We try to do our best and cover the topics in depth as much as we can. Once again, thank you for joining PJ here on Hawaii Sports Update. Mahalo.
Startup ecosystem.
Okay, here we are. We're back. We're live. We're so excited, except we're sad that we only have like 11 minutes left on the show. Oh,
We
sad.
can do a lot in 11 minutes.
Okay. So the first question is, tell me about your relationship with other, you know, like with Box Jelly and other co-working spaces in Hawaii.
Sure. We're part of a larger self-organized ecosystem called Startup Paradise.
This is everybody.
Yeah,
It's a wraparound term.
This is a wraparound term. Everyone, we all collectively decided, actually before I even joined, there was a hui that was calling themselves, and I was graciously invited in. It was a co-working space, so Box Jelly is part of that. Blue Startups and Energy Accelerator, which are incubators, funding sources, academic programs, they're all part of this larger collective that's trying to create an innovative and startup friendly atmosphere here in Hawaii.
Okay, so you don't really compete.
We collaborate. We try to collaborate more than compete for sure and figure out where our niches are. And that's why long before we opened the hub, I sat with Ray Chung regularly from Box Jelly to find out where we fit, how we could collaborate. And so he's been a great friend, and we've become, I don't know, he's really just a fantastic leader that started this whole thing. I really have a lot of respect for him and admire him and enjoy hanging out with him.
Yeah, he's very cool, and he started the idea, you know.
He carved it out, yeah.
Nothing before him.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this the last time I was on your show, which is I went to a gathering of all the hubs across the Americas that were going to start.
You did tell me that, yeah.
And I asked, what happens when there's already an entity that's doing something similar to what a hub is? Do you not do it, or do you do it? And they said that was incredibly common, and that a hub would come, and then shortly after there'd be a dozen more co-working spaces that had different niches for youth or for tech or for you know, whatever fashion.
Yeah.
And then it becomes kind of like the one coffee shop on the street versus a whole street of coffee shops, and you go to that area and you pick which one's your flavor and which one feels right to you. So Richung and I are trying to be sort of two of the first co-working spaces. There's more than just the two of us.
So
but it's part of a collaborative.
They proliferate. I mean, when it happens, you have one, that's one, but then one gets to be two, and they say multiply.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the story about the small town in the South where you have one lawyer, not much legal work. You have two lawyers, there's much more, and so forth, and they proliferate. It's not the same exactly as that, but the idea is they proliferate. So the question is, suppose you know, I join Box Jelly. Are you guys looking to make me a member also, or, you know, I mean, in addition to or in lieu of Box Jelly?
Our communities know each other, and we do have some people that have had membership at both and maybe part-time in both ways, or they're part of Box Jelly, but they have meetings with other people down here. And then we have programs that we've actually brought over to Box Jelly, one that George leads that we spoke about before.
You mentioned, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
well,
So it's really
it
up
sounds
to,
like you have to have that attitude.
Yeah, we've had people come and say we were just at Box Jelly and they thought we would be a really good fit here because they like to do yoga or they like a certain thing and whatever it may be. And there's people that come in and they're like, this space is sort of big and overwhelming, or they'll say something and we'll be like, you should really check out Box Jelly. It's just down the street. We're a 7-minute walk from each other.
How big are you?
Well, we have 3,500 square feet, and then
That's
we have
big.
some other open space where we show movies and do events. So.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
big. That's really, that's big. Okay, let me get to the high point of my own discussion about this. Kaka'ako, the Brooklyn of Hawaii.
Sure.
You heard it here. You guys are, part of a millennial movement. I don't know, maybe you don't like that, but I see that as, I see that generation as the important generation that's going to ultimately, be the productive people in Hawaii, and you're there with them. You see them, you know them. And Kaka'ako is where it's happening. And I've been following Kaka'ako since they laid the cornerstone on the medical school. Before that, since they started construction, I watched it. I went down there every few days. I wanted to see what was happening and everything. And it's really quite remarkable. There have been a lot of changes. Some of them have been good, and others have been like a step backward too. Some of them are delayed and should be happening and aren't happening. Some of them are happening and shouldn't be happening, if you will. So there's a lot of contention about it. It's not over. It's going to be more. And so many things are going to feed into what happens in Kaka'ako. Can this generation you're dealing with, can the millennial market that you're serving stay there? Or will you be forced out?
Very quickly, I have to say we're not just a millennial population. That there's the full spectrum of demographics.
I'm just talking about millennials for now.
Okay, well then I'll let George answer.
Can we stay there? I mean, it's a really difficult question. There's so much change that's happening in Kaka'ako. It's growing. It's just shifting all over the place, and so it's becoming a very cool space, as well as other places in Hawaii and especially Honolulu. Right now, it's a good fit for us, and I think that we're going to be trying to be focusing all of our energy on us to see, if it will fit. We're still prototyping, remember? We're ProtoHub's, so.
And part of that is location.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they took a risk on us, and we're taking a risk in what we're doing, so everyone's sort of in the risk together, and that can only last so long. It's got to dig its heels in and become a really solid business plan. We're actually way beyond all of our targets in terms of space rental and memberships, et
I
cetera.
knew that would happen when we spoke before. I knew
Really?
that,
Yeah. Well, it's a double blessing of being really having a lot of mentorship from the hub community and also being a mechanical engineer that's really conservative about numbers. So.
Yeah, but we're a good fit for right now. We're happy where we're at.
Yeah. We would stay there for a long time if we could, but everything's changing and in flux down there. So there's the pros and cons in that. You get your wedge in there for a minute, and you don't know how things are going to shift.
No, you don't, because a million moving parts. A million.
Yeah.
Query whether somebody who buys a $50 or $100 million condo, top of a building not too far from you, is going to be a member. Or if he's a member, is he going to be a constructive member, a real member?
Sure.
And if retail rates go up, and if you have a fiduciary duty to make a return on your investment, then retail rates must go up. Then what happens to you guys if nobody, in Kaka'ako, is part of your market anymore, because everybody in Kaka'ako is a offshore landlord who is only interested in making uku bucks.
Yeah. Well, remember so there's many factors that are growing in the community, and we also create a gravity to ourselves. So we are also building that market. So it's not just the market's affecting us. We're also affecting the market too. We will be building that community, and so I think that's going to pull in some weight too.
And I'll just jump in and say that it is really well documented by the 60+ impact hubs that have preceded us about how much an impact hub leverages the market around them. Like there's a certain number of city blocks that then all of a sudden start to have the best restaurants in all of Seattle start to go right next to the impact hub, even though it was a completely left behind neighborhood. So they actually have a lot of gravity, and even though there's usually a few hundred members, they leverage a few thousand of the exact type of people that the developers actually want around their buildings and renting, et cetera. So there's this ongoing relationship between developers and impact hubs in neighborhoods all over the world that is there's a big precedent.
I'm so reminded of Brooklyn,
I did my master's in urban planning here at UH, right? And I graduated 5 years ago, and I spent all my time on Kaka'ako, and I was in part of some of the first focus groups that were just in the beginning visioning of some of the areas. So it's I wanted to be in part of it because there's something happening there.
Yeah. Wow. You really, it's like, I didn't tell you I was going to ask you that question. You did really well on answering it. But now, what about this proto thing, where you are prototyping yourself and you're dynamic, changing all the time, responding to your market, responding to new ideas you have. Innovation is your middle name. So, are you thinking of other branches? Are you thinking of other locations? You have an eye over the geographical horizon here? What?
We're going to have to move. This is a temporary location, so we have to move.
I think I knew that,
yes,
actually.
So that's always been on the plan. But where we move to is the question. And when we move, we want to have enough rental space for about 8,000 square feet, because we actually have that much demand. We've had that many people approach us
So
and want
even now
extra.
you're too small.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if we took over that whole building, we could fill it tomorrow with the people that would like to rent as part of the
So
ProtoHub.
what's your business? I mean, is the rates you gave me, will they support you?
Yeah, with the ramp up, yeah, we're ramping up to market rents, which are market rates, which is what Ray Chung is at. So we're basically ramping up to what he charges over the next few months.
So the business model is you live on these rates. This
And
is what
also,
keeps you going.
yeah, so there's the memberships, there's the programs. We get paid for doing workshops and the space rentals for events and things and conferences. So,
Yeah.
and we do in-house catering actually, and all the catering is local and organic, and everything is like they catch the pig, they catch the fish, and I say this because George is the caterer. That was his entrepreneurial venture before he joined the hub, and then we talked about why don't we just merge that venture right into the hub, and now he caters regularly to people that have events at the hub. We have bento boxes all the way to really nice dinners. So.
Leaving no stone unturned.
Yeah,
Every
we do it all.
possibility.
We also have an art opening this Friday.
Of course you do.
Yeah, and it's our first art opening, and it's person plus space equals place. And we had 3 photographers that we invited, and there's a whole format to it. But the curator, Jonathan Swans, who's one of our founders, he said, I'm missing pictures that are from international travel. And George said, well, describe it to me. And then George is like, oh, I have some pictures. And he showed Jonathan, and Jonathan fell over. They're like, these are amazing. And so it's kind of coming like, what can't George do? He's like, yeah, he's catering. He's running the whole day-to-day there. He's
Good for you.
Yeah. Making sexy salads and taking photographs.
I gotta come.
Yeah.
I
It's
gotta
this
come over
Friday,
there,
6:30 till 9. Come.
When?
On this Friday,
This Friday.
Yeah,
Is it
It's
Friday?
our first art exhibit.
January 30th.
Okay, I'm into art. I'm into Kaka'ako.
Yeah.
I'm into exactly what you guys are into, actually.
You'll come down and
Even
you'll
though
like
we're
it.
downtown. We're downtown because the people we'd like to interview are downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
We did consider actually a place in Kaka'ako for a while, but we didn't think Kaka'ako was there yet for us.
Yeah.
It may be more there now that you're there. So after this program is over, which is going to be in a matter of seconds, I would like to talk to you about some kind of collaboration, okay?
Okay,
Fantastic.
so we will
All right.
collaborate. You will come visit us. You'll come to our art opening.
all the
You'll see
foregoing.
George's
Yeah,
photographs, and you'll become a member.
Yeah, well, that was quick.
It already happened.
Okay, let's say farewell now.
Okay.
There's that camera over there. It's your farewell camera. So tell the people what you want to leave them with, okay? Shanah Trevanah, go ahead.
I feel really grateful that we got to create the ProtoHub in Kaka'ako. Our family grows by 1 or 3 members every day, and we'd love you to come be part of it.
George?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you at 458 Kiawe Street. So come by, check out the ProtoHub.
You
Free
guys-
parking, organic coffee, and some organic tea.
And George.
You guys are scary. That's scary. Okay, Shanah Trevanah and George Yarbrough of ProtoHub in Kaka'ako on Kiawe Street. An ecosystem grows in Kaka'ako, Hawaii's New Brooklyn. Okay, all right. We'll see you soon. We'll
Words
see you
out of my
there.
mouth.
Right? Aloha.
Aloha.